Morning. Today is December the 15th. It's currently 6:14 a.m. I'm going to read Genesis chapter 5. This is the book of the generations of Adam, the day that God created man. In the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam. In the day when they were created. And Adam lived 113 years and begat a son in his own likeness. I just want you guys to know, those of you who haven't read first, second, and third, and fourth Genesis, um, it says here in first, second, and third, and fourth Genesis, it was all about the creation of man, how Eve and Adam disobeyed God and were kicked out of the garden, and then they started. And then when they after they were kicked out of the garden, they started having children after they were kicked out of the garden. Um, and and then now it's he's starting to speak. Now it's speaking like as if that wasn't even said, but this is, I don't know if it was written in this order or not. That's what kind of is confusing, but regardless, um, that's the order that it was done in first, second, third, and fourth Genesis. So when fifth Genesis comes in, uh, so basically I'm not trying to um, say that it's out of order or anything like that. I'm just saying it could sound that way. But and then it's saying about that this book is the generations of Adam. So everybody that they're going to speak of right now in this book, and then excuse me, chapter 4. So basically, there's okay. So because they were kicked out, and they were cursed because of what they did, right? That's what the God had told them. Now it's saying that they're all blessed. So it sounds like it's a contradiction. So we don't know the day nor the hour, the time of or the uh, hold on one second. I'm getting like some stuff here. I'm gonna read this slower. So this is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Right. So this was in the day that God created man. This is not in this chapter. It sounds like it was in this chapter, but it wasn't in this chapter. It was in like chapter 2 or something. So I guess he's giving us he's reletting us know. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. Yes, so they were blessed when God created them. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness. Um, so Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years. Okay, and he begat sons and daughters, and all the days that Adam lived were 909 and 30 years, and he died. So, um, for someone that's read this a million times, um, it's starting to really unfold to me because so what's happening here is so these are all generational iniquity curses. These are all people. They're showing us all the people that so because of their sin, All these people were born into the world into sin. At the beginning, if they just followed and did what God said for them to do, which is not to eat of the tree of the good of knowledge of good and evil, which is the tree, which is uh, the tree, they would not have had all these problems. But because they disobeyed God, um, all these people that they're going to talk about in this chapter, which I used to think, oh my gosh, this is just this book right here is just so, it was annoying, not annoying, but it was it was it was uh it was boring, right, for me to read because he begot he and begot he begot he begot he begot he. But what they're actually showing you is like all these people. What sin did is it spread. It spread like a wildfire, and and I'll just keep reading. So, and Seth lived 105 years and begot Enos, right? And Seth lived after he begot Enos 807 years, and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 90 years, and he begot Cain. So it says all the days of Seth were 900 years and 12 years, and he died. It did not mention nothing about Seth, just that he lived 900 years and died. Enos lived 90 years and begot Cain, and Enos lived after he begot 850 years and begot sons and daughters. So they're just multiplying and increasing, like they were asked to do. But and the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. Do you notice that there was no, God did not speak to man again? God did not speak to, in all this time, God did not speak to man. Is what I'm feeling. God did not speak again after he kicked Adam and Eve out of the garden. He did not speak to them. They were just, all they were doing is multiplying, and they had no real purpose other than making babies and surviving, right? There was no excuse me, one of your ears. There was no real purpose for them because they were just making babies and living long lives. If anything, they were living these long lives, being tortured because they were living 900 years. They were living 900 years, and they had no purpose, literally, other than to just wander the earth, and there was nothing around except to make babies. Um, that's basically what was going on. Um, and all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And see, so that would be horrible, man, to live that many years and not even know what your purpose and plan was. Like, I mean, I'm only 46, and uh, I can imagine if I didn't know what my purpose and plan was after living this long, I would just be, I wouldn't even want to live, to be honest with you. And Canaan lived 70 years, and he begot Michael, and Canaan lived after he begot Milalel 840 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Milalel lived 60 years. And you don't hear nothing about God speaking to these guys. You got Jared, and Mahalalel lived after he begot Jared 830 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalalel were 805 years, and he died. Jared lived 162 years, and he begot Enoch. And Jared lived after he begot Enoch 800 years, and he got sons and daughters. There was no scripture here. There was no scripture. There's no God. They didn't know, weren't worshiping nobody. They were just having sex and multiplying. This is basically what they're doing for 900, almost 1,000 years. And you know, you would think that that's there was no I mean, they were just all just running around doing their thing, but there was no direction. There was no order. It doesn't speak nothing about order and about direction, about nothing except just making babies and dying. 102 years, and he died. And Enoch, here it goes. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God. Okay, here we go. Now we're talking about something. Enoch lived 60 and 5 years, and begot Methuselah. Methuselah is man of a dart. Methuselah, an Antediluvian patriarch. Hold on a second. Enoch lived 60 and 5 years, so almost 1,000 years later. It goes 1,000 years. The Bible it goes 1,000 years speaking about all these people, and then all of a sudden, this one guy named Enoch, they just mentioned, lived 60 and 5 years, and we got Methuselah, and Enoch walked with God. Uh, he walked with God. He walked with God. That's what we all want to do. We all want to walk with God every day. Walk with God. Walk with God. And Enoch lived 60 and 5 years and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. We don't know how he walked with God because it doesn't say right here so far in Genesis chapter 5. It just says he walked with God. He doesn't describe how he walked with God, how God came in the picture. It does not mention any of this in this chapter. But it does say God, so we know God comes out. God comes out back again after Adam and Eve died 1,000 years later. In Genesis chapter 5, after I walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. So I guess this is the next generation of God people, or not? They're all God people, but I don't know. I'm not going to just throw my 2 cents in here. So basically, so when I mentioned that God wasn't mentioned, but now he was. Okay, so let's just keep reading. So at 21, and Enoch lived 60 and 5 years and begot Methuselah, and Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. It says, right here it says in 21, it says, and Enoch lived 60 and 5 years. 60 and 5 years. And then it says here, all the days of Enoch were 365 years. Okay. I'm not going to go there because I don't know, but that's not the same. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. And he was not what? And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. I have no idea what that means. It doesn't make any sense to me. I could go into, let's see, verse 24. Verse 24 of Genesis chapter 5. So I'm going to go to we'll go to Young's Literal and see what it says. So Genesis 5:24. Genesis 5, let's see. This is Young's Literal. 5:24 says, and Enoch walked habitually with God, and he is not, for God hath taken him. And he is not, that doesn't make any sense. He is not what? Genesis 5, let's see. Okay. Well, some things I can't explain that. So I'm sorry, you guys. Personally, and I'm not. This is not for that right now. I'm just gonna read through this. Um, and he was not. He was not. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not. Okay. Anyways, we know he walked with God. And Methuselah lived 108 years, 108 years, and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 720 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years, and begat a son, and he called his name Noah. Okay, here's Noah. So Noah was a descendant. These are all descendants of Adam and Eve, of course, but you see where the main people are coming out. So it's Adam and Eve, and then Noah comes out in verse 28 and 29, and he gave Noah, saying, "This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed." See, there it goes. So, and he had called his name Noah, saying, "This same shall comfort us concerning our." So who said? And Lamech lived 108 years, 2 years, and got a son. So Lamech is the one that Lamech was a patriarch. Lamech was a patriarch, and he called his name Noah. The same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord had cursed. So all these years, so it was quiet. Nobody even spoke of God. And then all of a sudden, 1,000 years later, Lamech pipes up and says, and knows the Lord had cursed the ground. I don't know if that was a prophetic word he's speaking. He added, just the Lord was speaking through him, or because they didn't speak nothing about God, or they weren't speaking about God for all those years. It was just, you guys are with me, those of you who are following along. So, and Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years. He died. And Noah was 500 years old. And Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Alrighty, so that is chapter 5 of Genesis. Thank you.